Gigginstown Angus Sale, Saturday, the 22nd of April. Fenner Farm at 12:30. Be there or see it live on MArteye.
Well,
Now, shoot.
last year we seen 40% of lots sold online via MArteye and a top price of 7-1.
Yeah.
3 years ago, it was safe to say you were cautious. What's your feelings on it now?
I think the online has transformed the way certainly livestock sales are conducted. It speeds them up no end. The old cute farmer standing there refusing to nod now has to move, get on with it. And I think it also means it widens, it gives a much wider group of potential purchasers. You know, people who can't travel down from the north or from the far south can now participate in the sale thanks to the online bidding facilitated through the MArteye website. It's great.
So 3 years ago, we done online only. Last year, we done online and on farm.
Yeah.
And was a huge success, huge crowd there in the day.
Yeah.
What improvements have you made from this year or from last year to this year?
Well, I think the key improvement this year is we're going to facilitate where we're putting up big screens so people can see the online bidding live while they're there, actually at the sale as well. We've installing big screens around the sales ring, so that people who are there bidding live can see the bids actually happening online as they put up online, and also then people who are online bidding can see what's happening around the ring itself. So we hope that'll add a bit more excitement and make it a much more dynamic and lively sale.
And will we see any of these famous Shadwell heifers in display?
There'll be, well, a couple of them will be there on display. Unfortunately, none of them will be in the sale. And the Shadwell, the champion bull, master, Stoop Hill Master Prince will be on display as well. We were very fortunate, to be able to acquire those Shadwell stock last year. It's not often you get a chance to buy the very best English Aberdeen Angus genetics. Shadwell has been one of the leading herds in England for the last 25 years. And the opportunity, when it came up with that dispersal, Joe was very excited to go over there. I think the excitement got the better of him on the day because he bought about more than 25% or nearly 30% of the stock on offer. But they are exceptional stock. The bull is exceptional, Stoop Hill Master Prince. I think we've been very fortunate in the last year. We've added not just the Shadwell champion bull, but we've also added the Irish champion bull, Mogeely Dram. And I think you'll see their genetics coming through maybe in the next couple of years. We would hope to have the first of our Shadwell calves included in next year's sale. But, they have to meet the exacting standards that Joe sets for the Gigginstown Angus Sale. We only put in what we think are our best cattle, both bulls and heifers, and that's why the sale has been such a success over recent years.
Because it's not like you, after I suppose such a long dormant period of not buying in the UK. Was it due down to superior genetics that you went back to the UK this year for Shadwell?
Well, I mean, like everybody else, we've been buying embryos in Canada. We've been buying, we bought occasional bulls, but it's not worth our while to go over to the UK to buy one or two heifers. Here was an opportunity for us to buy, a large number of, exceptional females, both in calf, cows with calves at foot, in calf heifers, and some maiden heifers. From one of the leading UK herds, and I don't think certainly in the last 20, 25 years, we've never seen that opportunity before. It was also, we got them in just after the Brexit kind of restrictions came in. Now, they did have to go through isolation for 2 months in the UK and a month in Ireland when they got here. But it was, as Joe rightly says, it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us to really invest in some industry-leading genetics in England, but in a scale and size that will significantly improve the genetics of the Gigginstown herd.
Will we see any of the Shadwell stock on the show circuit this year?
No, we're too busy during the summer to be doing any showing ourselves. We're very pleased and proud that some Gigginstown stock have been very successful in the show circuit over the last 2 or 3 years, but they're being shown by others. At this point in time, our first calves, the first Shadwell calves, are on the ground, but they're less than 5 months old. It will take a year or two before they start to filter through, both at the next year's Gigginstown sale and also, I think, on the show circuit as well.
And the Shadwell stock in general now, will they follow a different breeding program, or will they follow the same breeding program that you have followed?
No, I mean, I think what we want to do is we want to cross those genetics into our own herd. You know, we have the Stoop Hill Master Prince has been covering a lot of our the younger our maiden heifers in the last 5-6 months. You know, so I think there's a real opportunity there to kind of cross pollinate the best of those English genetics with what we believe are the best of Irish genetics. And we're using then some of our other stock bulls like Gigginstown Kickback, Listuff, Donny, and last year's Irish champion bull Mogeely Dram on those the Shadwell, the maiden heifers. And we would then also hope to cross those over onto the Shadwell cows once, or the in-calf heifers, once they've calved down and are ready to be serviced again. So, you know, I think the advantage here, or the opportunity here was an opportunity to buy kind of 20 superior females in the UK. If you're buying 1 and 2s, it would have made no difference to, you know, in Gigginstown, we have kind of 250 breeding cows in the herd, you know, so 1 or 2 would make no difference. But being able to add 20 females, which is almost 10% of the breeding herd now, gives us a real chance to, you know, to significantly, bring it to significantly kind of cross-fertilize genetics, or Gigginstown's genetics with Shadwell, and vice versa.
Last year, you were very active in the sales ring. You mentioned Mogeely Dram.
Yep.
You purchased him at the Irish Aberdeen Angus Extravaganza sale in Thurles.
Yeah.
I was there. I seen the stock. I think you got the top priced red heifer. You got the stock bull. The likes of that genetic sale in Thurles that MArteye done with the Irish Aberdeen Angus Society. I suppose Shane and the Aberdeen Angus Society went to a great length of checking every animal that went into that sale.
Yeah.
And going back to what you said on the Shadwell, the genetics that are in Ireland in comparison to other countries, I think we're well up there, are we?
Oh, I think, you know, we're world leading. There's no doubt in my mind. Now Ireland is right up there. We're certainly as good as the UK, and I think increasingly we're as good as what you see in Canada as well. You know, over the last 20 years, the size of our stock has grown a bit. I think we had previously bred the Angus for much too small. You know, we don't want to get too big, but you know, I think you see that with a number of overseas buyers now coming to Ireland looking for our genetics, not just in Gigginstown, but across Ireland as well. With breeders from the north, breeders from Scotland, from England, and some of the Canadians. I mean, I think the Canadians and the Americans were very impressed when the World Aberdeen Congress came to Ireland 2-3 years ago, or just before COVID. I think they were very impressed by the quality of what's available here in Ireland. And I want to compliment, I think the Irish Aberdeen Angus Association has done a great job. That elite sale in Thurles last autumn, I think, was a great success. I think we need a little bit more of that. You know, and I think they are also spreading it geographically. Like, too much of the Angus sales take place up in, you know, in Carrick. And Carrick is a great operation, but we need to move it around the country a little bit. And I think certainly we will be supporting that sale in the autumn this year. And maybe entering 1 or 2 of the Black Angus, and maybe 1 or 2 of the red Gigginstown Angus as well.
Every year we have this conversation for the last 3 years. Red Angus.
Yep.
Has your opinion changed?
I don't understand it, but hey, if the market wants Red Angus, give them Red Angus.
So your opinion has changed?
No, my opinion hasn't changed at all. I can't understand what people see in redheads, but nevertheless, that I say that with my tongue firmly in cheek.
Well, this year,
I have 2 sisters who are redheads, so you know I've a lifelong trauma dealing with redheads. So we have 30 red Angus. We've a growing red Angus herd. We have 30 breeding females. And therefore, I think for the next number of years, we'll have a small selection of reds. And this year, we have 2 red bulls in the sale and 2 red heifers, high quality animals. But, you know, To me, Aberdeen Angus are black, and I think once you've tried black, you'll never go back. But there are a lot of people out there who are absolutely mad into the red Angus, and if there's a market for it there, we'll try to service that market in a sensible way with good genetics. And again, one of the reasons that we were so keen, we bought two of the red, one of the a very good red cow and a red heifer in the Shadwell sale as well. So again, it's an opportunity for us to upgrade our own red Angus genetics in Gigginstown.
Well, this year going ahead for the sale on Saturday, 25 bulls.
Correct.
2 of them red Angus, lots of stars, lots of high figures. I think happy enough to say something for the pedigree breeder, the dairy breeder, something for everybody really there.
I think so.
Bulls for cows, bulls for heifers. And then on the other side of the foot, we've 20 heifers, including as of lately, one with a calf at foot, a little bull calf.
Yep. And we expect to have a second one, or maybe even possibly a third by the time we get to Saturday. So
that'd be nice.
There'll be at least, we think 2 of the cows will have calved down.
I think it's important to say on that, Michael, calved down on their own, unassisted, out in the field.
Yeah, it's one of the great attraction of the Angus. Why I got into them originally 25 years ago, when everybody in Ireland was buying blondes or Charolais. I didn't want to be paying huge vets bills. The Angus are great animal, great maternal traits, very easy calving. I can't remember. It's certainly been a couple of years since we've needed a vet at a calving. And they deliver those calves well, which I think makes them very attractive to the dairy man as well. Dairy's having another good year, which is great to see. And so we're hopeful that combination of the dairy farmers doing well, the continued success of the Certified Angus Beef program will lead to another good year for Angus breeders, but also for Angus cattle sales generally.
Moving on, Michael, we put up a post on the MArteye social media yesterday, looking for people to throw up a few questions.
Yeah.
Someone sent them in on the comments, some sent them in via email, and I suppose I'll just hit them one by one with you, see what you have to say. So Shane asked this question: we have seen changes to the star system with carbon being included. What does Irish farmers and the agricultural sector have to do to protect their image?
I think as a sector generally, we need to be much more aggressive and on the front foot about what we're doing about carbon capture. Like, we are the one community in Ireland, the farming community, that is protecting hedgerows. We're planting trees. We're the ones who are tilling the soil, growing grass. We are the home of carbon capture here in this country. And I think, we need to be much more, and the farming organizations need to be much more, I would have said, aggressive about advocating the extraordinary job that Irish farming does. We operate an extensive beef system, dairy and beef system in this country. We don't operate big intensive feedlots as they do in Canada and America. And we should be very proud not alone of the quality of food that we're producing, but also the environmentally sustainable way in which it's being produced, and stop apologizing for Irish agriculture, which is a worldwide success.
Next one is Claudio, who is a customer of MArteye.
Claudio.
Yeah, a customer of MArteye, who runs a dairy sale in November in Italy every year. And Claudio asks, how has the passion for breeding cows started? And it is a traditional family business, or did it just start with you?
No, the interest in cattle goes back a long way, I suspect, in the O'Leary genes. The original translation of O'Leary was calf keeper. So we were obviously, we weren't fit to be employed to do anything else a couple of 100 years ago other than mind calves. And it's something that's passed down through the generations. My dad, when I was growing up, was always had kind of cattle coming or growing. He was kind of a small farmer, businessman, but we always had some land, and he was always buying and selling cattle. I'm not particularly good at buying or selling cattle, but I like to think that we are, certainly in Gigginstown with the team, Joe, Max, and the rest of the team, we are developing or breeding very good Angus cattle, and we're very proud to stand behind every animal we sell, both to dairy breeders and to pedigree beef breeders as well.
And I suppose this jumps in on that same one, but Jerry asks, of all the breeds available, why Angus, and what gave them the edge over other breeds?
Well, I mean, when I was looking around at the time, it said when I first bought Gigginstown in the early mid 1990s, I was looking for, I had some horses, and we needed something to eat the grass. Like everybody else, every other hobby farmer, I started buying cattle in April and selling in October and losing money every year. That took us into extending into, well, we need to kind of breed our own cattle. And the choice in those days was, did you follow every other person who was breeding, wanted big pedigree Charleys and blonde Aquitaines and those big plow pullers, or would you do something a bit different? And in those days, Angus, the indigenous kind of breeds were Angus and Hereford. What appeals to me about the Angus is, I think they are beautiful cattle. I love to look at a field of Angus cattle. The Herefords were redheads, so that kind of turned me off straight away. And I think the fact that they were, reasonably very good maternal traits, very easy to calve down, they're a kind of hobby farmer's dream in that, they calve down well, they look after the calves very well. We have very few problems with them. And they're not red. Well, they weren't red when we started, but as the herd has grown, we've expanded into some redheads within the herd. But fundamentally, it's all about black Angus cattle. And I think we've been very fortunate in the last 10, 15 years, as the premium, the Angus premium, or the concentration around quality. I think, people like Burger King have done a wonderful job on promoting Angus beef. Tesco's, and the other retailers who have promoted and supported the Certified Angus Beef program have done wonders for the image of Angus beef as well. It's wonderful beef. The marbling is delicious. I keep going back to the fundamentals. Once you've tried black, you'll never go back.
John Appleby, a fellow Angus breeder, asks, what will the trade for dairy calves be like next spring?
I mean, if I could tell the future, I'd be Richards and JP McManus and a better gambler than he is. Sadly, I can't. I mean, I think there are challenges facing the dairy breeders. I think the live export of calves is going to come under, that trade is going to come under significant pressure. I do believe that, that increasingly the dairy breeder will have to breed a kind of a sort of a beef animal, and that as a farming community, we'll have to find better ways of rearing and breeding beef calves coming from dairy cows, and I think that the Certified Angus Beef program is one of the ways pointing the way forward there. You put a pedigree Angus bull on a dairy cow, and you have a beef animal there who, with hopefully within a 2-year period, can be sold into the Certified Angus Beef program, which is also environmentally friendlier and more sustainable, because you're slaughtering the animal at less than 2 years of age.
We next have a few emails that come in. So Billy asks, advice for other farmers doing on-farm sales and getting started.
I think the most important thing to do is to focus on quality, and then, do as much kind of the most important thing then is to kind of generate as much noise and hype around your sale as you can. Like, we started this 25 years ago. We started fairly small. I think in our first sale, we had only 15 bulls and 5 heifers. It's grown now to kind of 25 bulls and 20 heifers. And I think that's as big as we would ever want it to become. But focus on quality. I think Joe Mahoney and his assistant Max, they've always been focused on, we are very selective about what we put in the sale. We are thankfully big enough that if we have, we don't have animals that measure up to our exacting standards, and whether that's the stars or physical conformation, we cull them out into our commercial Angus herd. And so, what we're very proud of what we sell, and we stand behind every animal we sell. If the bull won't service your cows, or there's any fertility issues, we take it back, no questions asked. And if for some reason your heifer won't go in calf, again, we'll stand behind it. We'll take back the heifer, or we will replace her with something else. And I think that's what you got to do. And I think more and more farmers, I would encourage certainly more of the Angus breeders to kind of increase the size of their herd if they can, and try to focus more on-farm, reasonable on-farm sales. We're not, when we may have been the first to do it, but more people are copying what we're doing in Gigginstown. And I also believe then that things like the Aberdeen Angus Association, though that elite sale in Thurles, those autumn sales are a way forward, as long as we all focus on quality. It shouldn't just be about shoveling out numbers. We need to focus on selling quality heifers, quality bulls, and there's a market for them.
Fred, no, I've been kind of looking forward to asking this one all day. Fred asks, with the scenes at the Grand National last weekend and the rise of animal welfare protests throughout the UK, what's going to happen in Ireland?
Well, firstly, these weren't animal welfare protesters. Like, these lunatics who try to disrupt the animal are actually, what I would like to see is some of them brought on television and asked to defend what it is they're campaigning for. This is a bunch of vegans who are campaigning for everybody converting to plants. So basically what they're looking for is the extinction of the racehorse. Well, if that's what they want, why don't they just come out and say it and stop trying to glue themselves to fences? Now, nobody in the UK or in Ireland supports the extinction of racehorses. They're a beautiful animal. They're a wonderful species. I think jump racing in particular, both in Ireland and the UK, has done wonderful work, particularly the Grand National, Aintree and Cheltenham, on making it safer. An awful lot of them, though, are, they come up with ludicrous ideas. I heard one last night on the radio, why don't we just lower the fences? They clearly don't understand. If you lower the fences, the horses go faster, you'd have more fatalities. So there's a lot of ignorance behind it, but there are a bunch of attention seekers advocating veganism. They don't want to rear animals to eat them. Well, if you don't want to rear them to eat them, then there won't be any animals. They're in favor of rewilding, which is all great in theory, until then actually there's no food, or food prices double, treble, or quadruple, while this bunch of middle-class layabouts are out there sticking themselves to pool tables or snooker tables or fences. Look, I am of a view, I think in Ireland and the UK, there is huge support. And I think racehorses in particular are a very beloved animal, but they are racehorses. They will only be bred if there is racing. And if there is no racing, there will be no racehorses bred. So if what you're really advocating is the extinction of racehorses, come out and say it and stop hiding behind veganism and rewilding and all that other eco-loony nut job campaigns. But, we've always had these people. In the 70s, they were advocating, it was CND, and they were campaigning against nuclear. And they'll always be around. I think, sadly, they've been given far too much attention for, there was 118 of them, I think, in Aintree at the weekend. There was 65,000 people there supporting the racing. And we should move on and not spend too much time worrying about vegans and people who believe we should all convert to a plant-based diet.
It seems that model of the protests is happening a lot in the UK, with greenwashing, with protests, with Stop Oil. Can you see that model coming across to Ireland now? Can we see these is it a different culture?
No, look, there will always be grandstanders and there will always be attention seekers, usually advocating nutty ideas and grandstanding. In the 70s, you had the streakers campaigning or running across the football pitches of England. I don't think it ever took off in Ireland because the temperature was a bit chilly here for too much streaking. You will always have fringe lunatics out there campaigning for whatever it is fringe lunatics are campaigning for now and then. But again, I would be very strongly of the view, particularly horse racing needs to be much more on the front foot. We have a very good story to tell, particularly, I think, in terms of animal welfare and animal protection. I think particularly the Aintree Grand National, which has done wonderful work in recent years to make the fences safer, that horses, the numbers of fallers are fewer. There will always be fatalities. And it's not because, I'm a racehorse breeder. I've lost more horses in the last year foaling than I have racing. But some of these eco-loonies will want to say, well, we can't lose horses, then we shouldn't put them in foal. So, the breed ultimately faces extinction if these half-wits have their way. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to them. I don't think they have any real support. And I think they have received a disproportionate amount of publicity for what was ultimately a failed campaign or a failed effort to disrupt the Grand National.
The last email I have in is from Aaron. Aaron sent an email last night saying our government in Ireland is completely out of touch with Irish farming practice, the cost of living, and the blame for the environment. Would you ever run for government, and how would you sort this mess?
Well, firstly, I wouldn't run for government. One, I'm too busy running Ryanair. Two, nobody would vote for me because I would, unlike Sinn Féin and many other politicians, I'd tell them exactly what I was going to do. And sadly, nobody in Ireland votes for people who do what they say they'll do. They vote for people who lie to them with a wish list of nonsense. I mean, you look at the Shinners out there now, we will spend all the money, there'll be no taxation, and people vote for them. Like, you get what you vote for. I wish we had a more grown-up kind of political discourse in Ireland. I wish people were a bit more sensible and not just voting for people telling them it is what they want to hear. But that's my personal gripe. Look, I think farming in Ireland is in a very good space at the moment. I think we shouldn't be overly concerned about the environmental lobby. I think we do need to do more to reduce our carbon consumption. Farming has a very good story to tell in that respect, and as does aviation. But, when I have absolutely no doubt that, when the price of aviation or the prices of flying or the price of food starts to rise, you'll hear a lot less from the environmental lobby. Our first duty here is to feed our people. Irish farming and Irish agriculture does an outstanding job of producing high quality food very efficiently. I think it's one of the reasons why so many farmers are struggling to earn a decent income. But they provide an exceptional service and they're providing high quality food. And when it comes to aviation, again, we have an idiot for a transport minister. Unfortunately, he's green. He clearly never went to geography lessons when he was in school. Doesn't seem to realize that Ireland is an island on the periphery of Europe. Thinks that the way forward will be cycling until you get to Dún Laoghaire Harbour and discover you can't cycle on and off the island of Ireland. But, the Greens are fundamentally idiots, certainly led by an idiot. I would be very hopeful that the next election we will see off the Green Party, who have been lamentable failures. Certainly, as a transport minister, Eamon Ryan has been the worst transport minister of the last 20 or 30 years. And there's some competition for being the worst transport minister. He still has failed to do anything about Dublin Airport security queues last summer. We still haven't got the anti-drone technology up and running at Dublin Airport, despite the fact that Dublin Airport bought it about a month ago. He's still faffing around waiting to make a decision. Comreg now want to have a discussion about it instead of getting on and tackling the issue, as every other airport in Europe has. They all have this drone technology up and working. In Dublin Airport, we still don't have the drone tech. Well, we have the drone technology. It just doesn't work yet because we have a minister who's incapable of making a decision on anything that doesn't involve a bicycle lane or planting seeds in his window boxes. The sooner he's returned, I think, or loses his seat and returns to opposition where he belongs, the better. But don't get me started on Eamon Ryan.
Well, moving on, I suppose, talking back to Saturday.
Yeah.
We have Ballyjamesduff, John Tevlin at the helm, done an impressive job last year. Again, once a heifer goes or a bull goes into the ring on Saturday, there's no reserves. There's nothing. She makes what she makes. He makes what he makes. That's it. Yep. What can people expect on Saturday if they come?
Well, a couple of things. We're hoping for a couple of amendments this year. So we think we have better stock this year. We certainly have a better group. Their stars on average are higher. Most of them are 4- and 5-star animals. To make it more interesting, we're going to give a luck penny of €500 for the top-selling heifer and the top-selling bull. So whoever buys the top-selling heifer, top-selling bull will get a personal check from me from €500 back to them. And this year, we're also going to give the proceeds for the top-selling animal, whether it's a bull or a male or bull or a female. We're going to donate that in its entirety to the Crumlin Children's Hospital. My son is in TY in Clongowes, and they're doing this duck push fundraising in behalf of Crumlin Children's Hospital. So we're going to donate the top selling, all the proceeds of the top selling animal will be donated to the Clongowes TY duck push fundraising. And so I hope people will be generous and remember that whatever you're bidding for, if it's going to be the highest price heifer, the highest price bull, you're getting €500 back from me as well. So we hope there'll be a bit of fun, and we hope that'll liven proceedings. We have an exceptional group of bulls and heifers, and I hope people will take the opportunity to come and visit us in Fenner Farm. If you can come, by all means, use the MArteye website. The sale will go live sharp at 12:30. I understand we'll be running this interview probably from about 12 o'clock onwards, just to keep people entertained while we're waiting for the sale to start. And I think no doubt that John Tevlin, Ballyjamesduff, Mart will do an exceptional job, as they did this time, did last year's sale. And we're very grateful to be partnering with MArteye, who are providing a fantastic service to Irish farming. And we hope we'll have another successful edition of the Gigginstown House Angus Sale 2023.
And you'll be there for anyone that wants to take a selfie with you on Saturday.
I'll be there for. I'm actually thinking of charging for the selfies this year, because I might raise more money for Crumlin Chills, but I'll start charging for selfies. But I'll be signing autographs, taking selfies for those poor people who want a picture with me. God help them. And their Facebook feed must be very boring if they want a photograph with an old fart like me. But I'm very happy to stand there and pose with any other old farts that happen to be around.
And just for anyone at home, the banner ad will be up on the top of the app Friday and Saturday. Anyone wants to click in, there's fantastic pictures taken by Alicia and Tricia Kennedy on the app. There's also full profiles on the majority of heifers and bulls on the Gigginstown social media. So again, the girls have done a fantastic job.
Twitter, Facebook, and all the other social media outlets that I can't even begin to understand. I'm sure we're on TikTok as well at this stage.
But the girls have took fantastic pictures. Anyone wants to see pictures, if they're not in attendance or anything like that, there's brilliant pictures up there, and we'll have them over on the MArteye app in the next day or two. But look, Michael, thanks very much. We'll see you Saturday. I wish you all the success for the sale, and we'll go from there.
Thank you very much. Look forward to see you and everybody else on Saturday. The weather forecast looks good. So I hope we'll have a bit of fun and everybody will enjoy the sale. And those people, the most important people, are those coming to buy a nice bull or a nice heifer, that we'll find something for everybody at the sale. And if for any reason you can't make the sale, or you need an animal later on in the year, please feel free, call Joe or Pascal Keegan at any time, and we'd be happy to come visit Gigginstown. We'll show you the stock, and if you need something, we'll try and look after you.
Thanks very much, Michael.
Thanks very much, everybody.